Hello and welcome back to Sprite Guard Plays HyperRogue. We are in the middle of a really good run. We are really getting a lot done. We have just had a really exciting adventure in the vineyards where things got pretty out of control for a while, but now we are back in the crossroads. We have recovered, and now we are looking at what we need to do. We need more treasures from the Cicadas, the Dead Cave, and the Hive, and then we need to think about whether or not there are any other places we need to go, because this game has kind of gotten to the size where I'm not always totally confident that I will remember what all of the different lands are. We got the vineyard taken care of in that rather harrowing series of events that happened in the previous portion of this. I'm not even sure what to term these anymore. I guess in the previous episode of this run is probably the best way of saying it. Now, we have a demon shark after us. That's something that we have to be concerned about. But we are done collecting gems, so we are just looking for a way out. And we actually have two demon sharks after us, as well as a vine beast, which... we have quite a lot of trouble around here. So the Orb of Winter will keep us cold, and will actually allow us to go right up to crystal sages and punch them in the face, which is not what I expected. So this will actually allow us to stand around much more calmly than we would otherwise. And the crystal sage is heating up everything around us, but we're pretty quickly refreezing it. But our Orb of Winter is not going to last us much longer, so we need to just use it to get out ahead of some of the stuff that's giving us trouble, melt that crystal sage, wait for some of these many status messages to go away, melt a couple more crystal sages, and we may actually want to... no, actually, I don't think we can escape into hell. Well, let me think. If we go, let's see, if we go kind of around this lake like this... no, because this demon shark is actually moving quite fast. I thought that they would, oh boy. We're in a lot of trouble. Because I thought that the demon shark would move at the speed of a demon. It's actually moving at full speed. And now we have a crystal sage melting the ground around us. We have a yeti coming up to us. We have several sharks. So there's only one space we can move to at all. Now, I believe... okay, we can melt the crystal sage. And now we just have to book it. I mean, we don't have to go fast. That's actually something that I should be really careful about, because this is actually a kind of a psychological quirk that I get into a lot of the time, is when I have to do something in very few moves or very carefully, I will kind of get excited and think that I have to do it quickly, which is the opposite of what I want to do. So we can kill some sharks. We can head into the Crossroads 2, which is not the best place for us to be. I would like to see if we can find a way into a proper crossroads, because this area is so kind of crowded and narrow that we don't have a lot of places where we can move really... oh, excuse me, accidentally right-clicked. We don't have a lot of places where we can move really freely and engage in combat really effectively. And then we don't have a lot of cells that can spawn orbs. And I'm reminded, as we're right here, that we have not gotten power stones yet. And so that is something that we need to do. And it is something that we will need some orbs in order to even start doing that. We could use the orb of teleport that we have, but I don't think that is the best way of handling it. I want to find my way to a crossroads proper and find a place where we can get a few different orbs to kind of get us started in taking on the Land of Power, because that's going to be a very challenging excursion. And we do need a couple more jellies. And so I think it's worthwhile to head out here and see if we can find a nest. And we're not really coming across any. Okay, so here's another blue nest. We're basically ending up in the same situation that we were before. So there's kind of this... Okay, so there's actually a blue nest and a green nest right next to each other here. So things are working out remarkably well. So well, in fact, that I'm going to aggro these green hyperbugs, and then I'm going to try and leave myself a trail of dead orbs here, in the hope that I can find my way back to that crossroads. But it's not looking great. It looks like we've lost them. And let's see, this is a pretty even match. So we may actually want to kind of go around to the blue side. And there's actually our crossroads right there. So I'm going to leave myself a trail of dead orbs this way. And that will... Oh my goodness, we actually have 14 hyperbugs after us. So that's alright. We can... not... Okay, we cannot actually lay down dead orbs, unfortunately. But we can get these guys lined up. And we can try and stick to a fairly straight line. And just hope that we are able to find our way back, which is not looking good. We're running into a lot of problems. A lot of stuff's going wrong. May have to give up on that. So let's see if we can find our way back. We can give it a shot. We came across here, and then kind of through here. Do I see a dead orb anywhere? I see a red nest. That is discouraging. So, do I see a dead orb anywhere? Where could we have come from? There! Alright. So I managed to use kind of the edge of my vision, because you can see so many tiles on the edge of your vision. I was able to just kind of scan around a much bigger circle than I could have seen just by walking around. I don't actually know that that's true. That may not actually be entirely true. Now that I think about it, I'm not totally sure. But I was able to kind of, without committing, see a whole bunch of a whole big part of the map, and we actually managed to be quite successful. So we can go along the edge of this Land of Power and look for basically exactly this situation, where we have an orb of flash that is not next to any witches. Because now, okay, so now we need to think about this, because that's an orb, an ether witch, and so we won't actually be able to pick up this orb of flash. So that's not actually quite the situation I'm looking for. So that's okay. We will carry on. Here's an orb of speed that we can... no, because that golem will come after us. So it's okay. There will be more opportunities. There will be plenty more opportunities for us. And I'm kind of inclined to watch for just ideal situations. We really want to go in with as much going in our favor as possible. So I'm seeing places where we could like go in and get an orb of life, which is not especially appealing. What we need is speed and flash. And so, let's see here. I find it a little bit difficult to read. I don't believe, no, heptagons never touch. So that Winter Witch is at least 2 steps away from the flash orb. But that does mean that we will expend the flash before we want to. Yeah, I'm just not seeing a situation that strikes me as really worth going after. And we don't need Power Stones yet. We still have a lot of stuff that we can do without them. The thing may be to... that was an Orb of Winter, not an Orb of Yendor. That was... So we have enough dead orbs. We actually have 21 dead orbs. We can start looking for Orbs of Yendor. And I'm going to have to pay a little bit more attention because the Orbs of Winter, I find, are close enough in color that I have trouble telling them apart. This Orb of Speed is nice, but again, not quite enough, and especially because we're not really that close. It was kind of a mistake picking up that Orb of Life because we have the Orb of Speed. So maintaining this golem is not the most important thing, but is going to be fairly difficult as well. I had a moment of kind of checked outness right there where I was thinking, boy, we're seeing lots and lots of Orbs of Teleport and no Orbs of Flash. Of course, the reason for that is we have collected no ice diamonds. And so we are not able to get Orbs of Flash. The graveyard, I think, is too risky. I think it's too narrow. I think it's too tight. I think it's too dangerous because of the ghosts. I want to go into one of the really open areas. The Icy Land, the Hive, or the Mirrored Land. I mentioned in the previous episode I had a very successful run where I got the Orb of Yendor, or rather the key, out of the Mirrored Land. And that was actually kind of... I did that a little bit to test myself and to test the game because I talked about I was kind of having this this crisis of confidence in how skill-based this game is and how fair it is. And I was kind of wondering, like, are cheap deaths really common? And so I wanted to see if I had the skills and if the game was fair enough that I could get the orb, or rather the key. I'm going to keep making that mistake, possibly forever. But I wanted to see if I could get the key out of the Mirrored Land, or if I would get swarmed by eagles before that happened. And I ended up being very successful. So let's see, we have Ether, Speed... Ether. Okay, so this actually looks like the kind of situation we want to go into. We have some Ether, some Speed, some Flash, and not too much coming after us right away. So then the question is, do we want the Speed or the Flash first? Well, certainly the Speed, because that will let us kill that evil golem. and pick up that orb of flash and use it to open that cupboard and get more speed. And it's very useful that you can kind of stock up on speed, which is one of the sentences that I never really expected to be saying. But you can build up a really big stockpile and not have to worry about running out as much. Sorry, I talked a little bit in one of the previous episodes about gear changing in my mind, and one of the places where I kind of struggle with that is in when I'm talking about something not related to the game, and then I notice something in the game that kind of grabs hold of my attention. So we're actually in a position where we can smash this cabinet open at the same time we kill this evil golem, pick up another flash to kind of refill that, and continue on our way. And I want to be really careful to scan, especially, it's good that flash witches really kind of announce themselves. Since we have this orb of flash here available to us, we should open that up and grab those, get some more speed, refill our flash charge, and try and get over to this cabinet before we get overwhelmed. And now we kind of want to... I would like to have as much within range of my flash as possible. So I think this is going to be... yeah, that worked out very well. And they dropped their flash orb, which is very kind of them. Orb of Life just doesn't seem that useful. I don't think we're going to be able to do anything useful with it. How are we doing? We have 5. So we're a ways off yet, but that will take us up to 6, and we have more flash we can pick up. We can pick up some winter, which will actually give us quite a bit more mobility. Winter lets you walk through fire, and so it gives you quite a lot more options. Now let's see, is that 1, 2... I believe that's 2 steps away. I would really rather break open a cabinet, but the good thing about fighting flash witches is they drop orbs of flash. Now here's a situation where I would really like to open those 2 cabinets, but I don't have a way of restocking my flash after. And we have a lot of flash witches coming for us. We still have quite a lot of speed, and so I am pretty confident that that will be sufficient, because speed does get you around flash witches pretty effectively. We could get this dragon orb to try to kind of block stuff off. We might actually, let's see, how much charge does that use? I think it uses like 5 charges, so we can just kind of throw down a wall of fire here, and that will protect us from a lot of the stuff that's bearing down on us. And we're kind of on the wrong tempo, so we have to fight that golem. And then we could grab like one of these ether orbs and get into a cabinet that way. But I'm kind of anxious to get some flash, so I'm going to head over there. And that was a little bit reckless of me to move that quickly. Let's see, we do need to refill our speed a bit. And we're actually at 9 power stones, so rather than go after any particular power stone, I want to focus on finding an exit. And try not to worry about other cabinets that we open. Now this orb of invisibility will be pretty useful. How's our winter? We have, it looks like, quite a lot of winter, and the Orb of Time, I think, is going to... Yeah, it's not going to help us with our speed, it's not going to preserve our speed at all, and it's not going to preserve our invisibility at all, but it will preserve our winter. And our dragon as well. We have actually more dragon left than I expected. And we are just going to be looking for a way out of here. So we can do things like we can make our way over here and kind of think, well, do we want to open up these cabinets? We have a Crossroads 2 right here that we can get into. And it looks like we can actually open up a teleport, an Orb of Thorns, which could be extremely valuable, and a Power Stone. So we can grab those, and then we can teleport out of here, and they will not chase us out of the Land of Power. So that is that knocked out. And now what we have to take on is the Dead Cave. And so that is going to require, let's see, probably some orbs that we do not have. And we probably actually want to find our way into a proper crossroads, because we are going to need a lot of orbs. We're going to need some flash, and we're going to need some probably ether. But we can kind of look around, watch out for easy grabs, and just make sure that we are aware of what's around us. I want to be really timid. My tendency is to be just incredibly conservative around the Dead Caves, because it's very dangerous and I don't completely understand it. And so things that normally I would say, oh, that's an easy grab because I can see my way out, I'm not going to treat nearly as recklessly. So here we have an Orb of Yendor that we can't get past. So we're going to have to kind of fight our way over to this door, and I think this is actually worth going for. I think that we can make some good progress after this key. So I just want to be really careful about using the dead orbs, both as a way of getting through walls and as a way of marking my path. And what we can do is we can actually do that to use a dead orb to change color, and then reclaim it. And then we have to be a little bit careful about also splashing our dead orbs, because that will destroy them. So we are going to continue over this way, and this is one of those places where we can use it as both. The stars align correctly. And one temptation that is that I really have to kind of be vigilant against is saying, oh, that blue slime opened it up for me, I don't need to put down an orb. Well, we do need to put down an orb because we need to be able to see our orbs. And so even though we don't need to change color, we still need to continue. And here again, we have to be a little careful. But this blue slime is going to, let's see, it's going to be here. And then we fight this one and that one. And that's that taken care of. I'll put an orb there, and then we can actually use these red slimes to... Yes, that works just fine. Alright, and then we will be at the perfect distance to use one of those again. So we will leave that right there. Now here is an interesting situation. I think we can get onto the red if we do that. And then, once again, we'll kind of be at a pretty good distance, whoops, to place that for kind of a dual purpose. And then we will summon one of these slime monsters again, sacrifice it to change colors, and we can sacrifice another one here. We actually have a lot of opportunity to do that, and a lot of red slimes coming after us. But we're going to need to place a dead orb somewhere around here. And I'm not really inclined to put it where we need to change colors, so I'm thinking I'm going to put it there. And then we do need to deal with some combat. We need to be careful not to splash our dead orb. And that actually may have opened up a little bit of forward progress that we can make. We can put one down there, just kind of hook around this island here. And then come over this way, sacrifice a blue slime, and we have a lot of stuff after us. So, probably best to deal with some combat and really make sure that we are able to progress forward. Just really clear stuff out, and really make sure that we're able to get back as well. Because that is, if we have hordes of slime coming after us on the way back, that's going to be a lot of trouble for us. Now, we have to be careful about managing this red slime. It is going to want to splash our dead orb, and we have to make sure that these two don't get to us at the same time. And that's actually a pretty big risk here. So I'm actually going a bit further out of my way than is really wise, because we are going to need a dead orb to show us the way. And then we're going to need to get in a bunch more combat. Oh, and that is going to extinguish one of our dead orbs. So we're going to have to shoot. Do a lot of combat. Okay. Take a break. Take a look at what's going on. Kind of take a moment to sit back and say, you know, I'm in a perfectly safe situation. I am sitting in my bedroom at my computer playing a game, and then kind of really appraise the situation. I think that we are in a pretty good situation in the game. We just have to be careful. And we have to be kind of vigilant about managing combat. I can't tell if these blue areas are connected. It looks like they are not, but we're going to have to do some combat here to change color. And I think I'm going to deal with that combat when we come back, because I don't want to lose another dead orb. We're kind of thin in supply, and I don't want to lose a whole bunch. Now, I was really worried for a moment that that key went into the Land of Power, because that would be virtually impossible for us to get out. And unfortunately, we're going to have to do some shenanigans here. But we can deal with that. We have the time. We can take this very carefully. And we have the dead orbs that we need. Can we get away with putting a dead orb here? It's going to be tricky, but we can remember that we kind of come flush along the Land of Power like this. And so we will put one there and continue on our way. Now, let's see. We have some combat coming up that will actually put us onto the red. We want that. And then we're going to have to put a wayfinding orb probably here. And we are 20 steps away, so we are very much getting into, or 20 steps away from where we can see the key. Not 20 steps away from the key. And it looks like we're crossing a lot of red. I'm not really keen on picking this up, but it seems like the only reasonable choice. Actually, that's not true, because we need to put an orb here, and then we can do that. And that will actually get us a path past that, so we don't have to pick it up. And then we just kind of continue on this way. Put an orb there. Oh! Gotta click right on the number. If you click on the O, it thinks you clicked off screen, and very helpfully takes you in the direction that you clicked. One thing that this game does that I kind of have mixed feelings about is it's very useful on mobile. If you tap in a direction but far away from your character will just move toward wherever you tapped. And that's very nice, except when you have a ranged orb. And in that case, then, it will, of course, use the orb. And so you have to be a little bit careful, and it ends up kind of doing away with your muscle memory. Like, it just ends up messing with your muscle memory so much. So now we are trying to find our way back, and I think I actually lost the trail, which is pretty embarrassing. I really thought that I had it in sight. Oh, there it is just below us. Okay. So we need to get past that blue slime. And in order to do that, let's see. Okay, we can loop around here like this. That's probably the best way to do that. Now we're headed up this way. We have a red slime to deal with. And then it looks like we're going to have a couple of red slimes to deal with up here. Have to be careful not to splash any slime on our next waypoint. But we have a pretty clear path so far. Okay. We have to do a couple of crossings. So let's do that to kind of at least a little bit reduce the number of crossings we have to make. And it looks like we're going to lose this dead orb. That's too bad. Well, yeah. Yeah. So, where's the next one? Right. This is the one where I said we have to go flush along the edge of the Land of Power. Looks like we can get to this next one, going a little out of our way, but without changing color. And then we actually had a blue slime come along at exactly the right time to change our color. So now we have these two that I remember saying, well, we'll have to deal with them later, so we're going to lose another orb. That's okay. We are heading, ultimately, back to the crossroads. So it's not actually that bad if we lose, if we don't go to the crossroads with quite as many dead orbs as we had before. And just have to remember that that one was there. We can drop one again to change color. And then move on to this one. And we're going to need to change color again. And then this one. And can we see? Yes, we can see one from here. Go past the vineyard. I don't remember going past the vineyard, but I guess we did. Now here, it looks like this is not the crossroads that we're actually aiming for. So, once again, change color. And then immediately change back. And then, let's see. another one. This is rather a bit further than I remembered, but I think I always kind of feel that way. I always feel like it's further than it should be. It always, in both directions, I think it always feels a little bit too far. Now, we had our orb here. I think the next one is actually covered up by text. And we're going to need to change color again. And it looks like, we found our way back. So now we just need to use this blue slime to kind of open up the area around us. And that should get us into the Orb of Yendor, yes. Okay, so we have the Orb of Fire. That is a problem. That is a pretty serious problem, because we are in the Crossroads 2. And so it's going to really block things off in some bad ways. I think the thing to do is to jump into the Land of Eternal Motion. That will negate the effects of the Orb of Fire. Now we're going to be looking for either an Orb of Safety or a proper Crossroads. And I see an Orb of Safety over here. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. We now have one Orb of Yendor. We are going to be keeping an eye out for more. I thought we had 2 at this point, but I guess not. I may be just misremembering. I've been playing this game quite a lot recently, and still really thoroughly enjoying it. Let's see. This is just going to drop us into kind of Nowheresville, Land of Eternal Motion. So that is where we will resume. We have quite a lot of orb counters left from the Orb of Yendor, and it looks like the Orb of let's see, no. Which one is the Orb of Fire? There we go. So there's still 62 charges on that, and that will run out at the same time as our flash. So we have kind of a lot of paperwork ahead of us, but we also have the Dead Caves and the Icy Land ahead of us. And once we are through those areas, we will begin gathering Hyperstones, and that is when the game goes completely berserk trying to kill you. And we're going to continue gathering up dead orbs, so we may end up going into Camelot if things go exceedingly well. And my plan for Camelot is probably to edit things down a bit. Probably to go into it as a bit of a tutorial to kind of show people once again the process, maybe a little bit more explicitly than last time, and talk a little bit more about the puzzle and the mechanics behind the puzzle. But that is a long way off, probably at least 2 episodes in the future, if it happens at all, because there's so much that you just never know in this game. So I hope that you will continue to join me as we adventure through the world of HyperRogue, and I hope to see you in the next episode. But most of all, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.